Hello, welcome to Lotus tutorial Complete C Sharp Lesson 1 Introduction to C Sharp. In this session, we are going to learn about the basic structure of C Sharp program, what is namespace, and also the purpose of main method. So here is the sample program, and you can observe very clearly we have 11 lines of code present over here. Okay, and we are going to understand each of this line present here. Okay, to understand this program very clearly, what I'll do is I'll jump into Visual Studio and I'm going to click on the file menu. I'm going to create a project. Keep in mind, .NET supports multiple languages, and one such language is Visual C Sharp, and that's what we are going to learn right now. Okay, with Visual C Sharp, you can create different type of applications, which includes WPF application, a Windows Form application, console application, web application, and also you can create a class library. Okay, as of now, for learning purpose, we are going to take or create a console application. So I'll name my console application as Introduction to C Sharp. Introduction to C Sharp. Yes, and this is the path where I'm going to store this project in the F drive Lotus folder and the chapter 2 Introduction to C Sharp folder, and I'll click on OK. Once I do that, Visual Studio is going to create me a console project, okay, with also few lines of code written. Okay, you can observe we have few lines of code already written. When the Visual Studio creates a console project, it's going to give us this lines of code by default, and I'm making it much more simpler by removing the unnecessary code present over there. And when I do Ctrl S, okay, now what I'll do is you observe the lines of code present here and observe the lines of code present in this presentation. It's all same, but only the line missing is console.writeLine hello world. So what is our objective right now? Our objective is very simple. We have to print hello world on the console window. Okay, what is console window? Console window is something like, let me show you, CMD, and this is what the console window, and my objective is I want to get hello world on this window with the help of this C Sharp program. Okay, how do I do that? It's very simple. What I need to do is, let me close this first. Okay, with the help of the C Sharp program, what I need to do is I need to print hello world on the console window. So how can I do that? First, let me write a piece of code. Later I'll explain you what is that I'm writing there. Console dot write line. So I'm going to write hello world. When I do Ctrl S, okay, this now you can observe the piece of code present here. Okay, the exact piece of code and piece of code present over in this presentation are exactly the same. So what is my objective? My objective is I want to print hello world on the console screen. So I'm making use of the console class and also the function present in that console class to do that work. Okay, when I over on this write line, what is the explanation written for that write line? It writes the specified string value followed by the current terminator to the standard output stream. In the sense, this write line function is going to, if you pass something to this write line function, it's going to print it on the console window. So that's what our objective is. When I do Ctrl S, in order to execute the program, you have to press Ctrl F5, or you have to click on the debug and you have to press start without debugging. Click on the start without debugging, or the shortcut is press Ctrl F5, and you can observe we got the output as expected, that is hello world. That was our objective and we achieved it very clearly. Okay, now let's understand very clearly each of the line, okay, each of the code, each of the piece of code present over here. Okay, first let me make you understand what is this using system. Using system is a namespace. So what do you mean by namespace? Namespace is a collection of classes, interfaces, structs, enums, and delegates. But as of now, you understand what is namespace. Namespace is a collection of classes. In the sense, you can observe right now we have a namespace called Introduction to C Sharp, and as I said from the definition of namespace, namespace is a collection of classes. In the sense, within this namespace from year to year, it can have n number of classes. So let me add few set of classes. Okay, the class name is demo. Okay, and let me add another class, and the class name is sample. So as per the definition, what is a namespace? Namespace is a collection of classes. So here the namespace is introduction to C sharp, and we are having three classes here. So that is what the namespace is. The namespace is the collection of classes. So here the namespace is using system. So let me explain you what is this using system later. Now let me remove this piece of code, unwanted code. Okay, now what is using system? Using system is a namespace. Okay, namespace declaration using system indicates that you are using the system namespace. Okay, and system is a namespace, keep in mind. And coming to the second part, the second part is a class. Okay, what do you mean by class? Class is a collection of fields, properties and methods. But as of now, don't worry about what is class. We're going to learn about the class in detail in the coming session. As of now, keep in mind class is a collection of methods, fields and properties. Okay, and coming inside the class, we have a main method. Okay, what is this main method going to do? Keep in mind, main method is the part of this piece of lines present over here which will do the work. So inside the main method we have written a piece of code. Okay, what is this piece of code going to do? This piece of code is going to print something on the console window. So what is that piece of code? Let us understand that very clearly. So what is this write line? Write line is a method. Okay, whatever the input you give to this method, whatever the parameter is passed to this method, it will print it on the console window. And where is this write line method defined? It is defined in the console class. So what is class? Class is a collection of method. So console is a class, and inside the console class they have defined a method called write line, and that write line job is to print something on the console, whatever we pass to that. Okay, and now when I over on this console, you can observe the full name of the console is system.console. What do you mean by that? It's very simple. As I said from the earlier definition of namespace, that is, namespace is a collection of classes. So here the namespace is system. Okay, inside the system we have defined a class called console. Okay, .NET, in the .NET framework they have defined a class called console in the system namespace. So if I want to use the console class, then I need to refer this using system in my project. That's what we are using system at the top. Now as soon as I remove this using system, you can observe we'll get a red squiggly over here telling like, okay, the name console does not exist in the current context. Okay, because we are not telling to the we are not telling like from where this console class is coming. This console class is coming from this system namespace. So now the red squiggly went. This is what the namespace is. Namespace is a collection of classes. So system is a namespace, and in that namespace we have defined a class called console. So if I need to use the class console, then I need to refer the namespace of it. So the namespace of console class is system. So I'm referring at the top. Okay, this is what we learned in this session. Like, we understood each part of this code present over here. Okay, and that's what we learned. And coming to the second point, third point, that is main method. What is this main method? Main method is the entry point into your application. So here you can observe we have a class. What is class? Class is a collection of methods, properties, etc. Here we have a method called main method. So let me add another method. Just to save the time, what I'll do is I'll copy and paste. I'll remove these things, parameters passed over here. Just to avoid the confusion, I'll remove here also, but I'll name the method as method1. Okay, and this is hello world from main1 method, and this is hello world from main. Now when I do Ctrl S, now when I run this program, okay, we'll get the output only as hello world from main. Why? Because keep in mind, the console application, the execution point of the console application is always the main method. In the sense, in this class program you can have 10 number of methods, but the main method is always the execution point of this project. Okay, so what I need to do is, if I need to execute this also, what I need to do is I need to call this main method, main1 method, inside this main method, because main method is the execution point of your application. So now I'll call this main method, main1 method. Now when I run this program, you can observe very clearly we'll get the output as hello world from main and hello world from main1. In the sense, class can have n number of methods, but this main method is a special one because Okay, it is the entry point into your application. Okay, that's what we learned in this session, like what is namespace, what is class, and what is the main method. Okay, what is the specialty of it. And finally, thank you for listening. Have a great day.